It has been 13 years since September 11, 2001, when the foundation of the United States was rocked on a morning in New York City, and then later on that day in Pennsylvania and in Washington, D.C. Today, all around baseball, it is Patriot Day. We shall not forget those who lost their lives and those who have lost their lives since 9/11, 2001. Members of the United States military, the Philadelphia Fire Department, the Philadelphia Police Departments, bringing out a flag representing each and every state in the United States, rimming the infield here at Citizens Bank Park, and then the brass quartet and the color guard, all part of the ceremonies here tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Game 4 between the Phils and the Pirates. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Jamie Moyer. Each and every year around this time, we reflect back to September 11th, 2001. Each of us reflects back to where we were at the time when the attacks took place on the Twin Towers in New York City and where we were in the subsequent weeks. And for you, Jamie, you were still playing baseball at that time, and obviously, like the rest of us, were watching from a distance at what was going on here in the United States. Yeah, we were, and it was actually a very startling day, an upsetting day for us. I was with the Seattle Mariners at the time in Anaheim, and waking up to the news, actually waking up to a call from a family member telling me to turn the TV on early in the morning, and then obviously wondering about what's happening on the East Coast, worrying about what may continually happen from there. Fortunately, we were able to get home, be with our families, and then start some days later, be part of that healing process through Major League Baseball and the fans in the United States and with the city of New York. Commissioner Bud Selig has said that it was the toughest decision that he had, and it was the toughest decision for baseball as a whole, when to start. And it was President Bush, who was a former owner of the Texas Rangers, who said baseball will help the healing process. So that's when baseball eventually did come back, and they started playing games again. Yeah, and at first, as a player, or a lot of players, I think we kind of felt that it might be a little wrong. But I think really as we talked about it as a club and talked about it as an organization, we realized that, you know what, this was the right thing to do, and it really was the right thing to do. But we all were really feeling towards what was happening in New York, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., But on the flip side of it, it's nice to be able to everybody do that together as one unit, as a nation, and everybody trying to contribute. Well, we still do those things together as a country. And tonight we have baseball, but we also remember those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. When we return, we will have baseball here at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies and the Pirates. Introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, it's been a very warm afternoon here in Philadelphia and all around the Delaware Valley as we get set for the final game of this 4-game series. The Phillies and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates have won 2 of the first 3 ball games in this series. Their offense seems to be clicking on all cylinders. Meanwhile, the Phillies are looking for their starting pitcher tonight, A.J. Burnett, to get deep into this game and also handle some of this Pirates offense. And Jamie, it still begins and ends really with Andrew McCutchen for the Pirates.
Yeah, he's really played well against the Phillies this year, and maybe it's fortunate the Phillies only see the Pirates 7 games this year. I don't know. But, you know, he swung the bat very well, not only in this series, but against the Phillies. And, you know, last night we saw a couple singles, but then we saw this big hit right here inside the park, home run off the cement wall in left center field just above that 409 sign. And you saw that ball was maybe a little misplayed by Ben Revere, but when you look at McCutchen, he had a lot of fun with it. He said today, you know, I realized that when I was getting to second base, I had a good chance, and when I was rounding third and coming towards home, I was having a lot of fun with it.
Well, there's no doubt he was. He saw where Revere was, and he also saw where Sizemore was as the potential backup to Ben Revere. Last 10 games against the Phillies, you're right. It probably is good that the Phillies only faced the Pirates 2 times. And he's part of the Pirates lineup again. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Harrison, the leader in hitting in the National League, then Snyder and McCutchen. Neil Walker, the birthday boy, will be at cleanup. Russell Martin, the catcher, hits 5th. Starling Marte is in left field batting 6th. The bottom third of Davis, Mercer, and Liriano. And they'll face Phillies right-hander A.J. Burnett, who's getting a chance to face his former team for the 2nd time this year. 8-15 on the year, 169 strikeouts, but he is the leader in the National League in walks. Just too many base runners this year for AJ.
Yeah, he went through some spells early in the season where, you know, the walks really affected him, as I think as a person and as a pitcher, and affected what, you know, happened in the course of his games. But AJ's going to compete. He's going to compete with 3 pitches: a fastball, a curveball that he relies heavily on. And there's games where he's thrown that changeup a little bit more, and then there's some games where he's used it sparingly. But, you know, career record of 1-2 with a 2.77 ERA versus the Pirates, and I'm sure AJ's up for the challenge to be part of that spoiler team.
Up to the challenge of being part of the spoiler, but also up to the challenge maybe beating his old club. Time now for our Nissan keys to tonight's ball game.
My first key tonight is make Liriano throw strikes. He's one of those guys that he's on the bottom side of pitches in the zone at just over, what's it, 60.4%. My second key is for Revere to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, he's 0 for 12 in this series, Ben Revere is. And he's hoping to get back in the swing of this race for the National League batting title. Harrison leads the way, hitting .318. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Harrison, who didn't play in game 1 because of a slightly sprained ankle, but has not missed a beat in the other 2 games. 1 ball, 1 strike to Josh Harrison. Inside, 2-1. AJ in 2 years with the Pirates won 26 games, had an earned run average of 3.41. He made 61 starts. Got a play, 2-2.
Josh Harrison, I think, has really given Clint Hurdle a lot of options this year with the way he's played. Number one as an offensive player, but even where the ability that he has to play many different defensive positions.
Well, he has exceeded all expectations offensively. He's down on strikes at a breaking ball. And there's 1 away. So an out recorded here in the first. That'll bring Travis Snyder to the plate.
AJ threw 4 straight fastballs, and then he drops his curveball that kind of the bottom drops out of it. The speed is what got Josh Harrison out in front.
Well, strikeout number 170 on the year for A.J. Burnett. 2,350 strikeouts for his career. Here's Travis Snider. Snider with 2 hits in the series. In 9 career at-bats against Burnett. He's 3 for 9. Takes a fastball. It's 0-1. We've had floating temperatures during the course of this series. It was cool the first couple of nights, warmed up a little bit last night, and today, well, today at certain points it was pretty hot and humid. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looks pretty clear right now, which is a good sign. Phillies play the infield to pull for Travis Snider. Curved ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Current temperatures 81 degrees. You see partly cloudy. And a foul tip hung on to by Ruiz. Back-to-back strikeouts for A.J. Burnett. Well, so far so good with his breaking pitch. It's certainly been a put-away pitch with these first 2 batters.
Yeah, he's actually coming at the Pirates a little differently than he normally has early in the first inning in some of his other starts. But here's a really good curveball and had a lot of depth to it. And it was a little harder than the curveball that he struck out Harrison with.
Well, now here's Andrew McCutchen, hitting .311. 23 home runs, 75 runs batted in, and he chops it towards short. It's an easy inning. 10 pitches for A.J. Burnett, and he's through the top of the first. We'll go to the bottom of the first here in Philadelphia. It's the Pirates nothing and the Phillies coming up. Live sports. It'll be Revere, Franco, and Bird, followed by Ryan Howard, Darren Rupp, and Carlos Ruiz. At the bottom third of Cesar Hernandez spelling Chase Utley at second base. He'll bat 7th. Freddie Galvis will bat 8th, and batting 9th and pitching is A.J. Burnett. And they will face left-hander Francisco Liriano. Liriano making his 26th start of the year. Now you look at his win-loss record, you say, well, he's not having a very good year. Well, he's not if you just looked at that, but since the All-Star break and even a little bit before, he hasn't got a whole lot of run support, but he's pitched very well for the Pirates.
Yeah, and he can eat up some innings, and he does have a lot of experience. And the big plus, he's left-handed. But, you know, he's going to come at you with 3 pitches. He really doesn't use his slider, or excuse me, he doesn't use his curveball. Fastball, slider, changeup. 93-mile-an-hour fastball, 85-mile-an-hour slider, 86-mile-an-hour changeup. The thing about Liriano, he's in the bottom of the league of pitches thrown over the plate. I mentioned it earlier. It's 60.4%.
1 ball, no strikes to Revere, and he takes a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, thinking as far as the offense goes, What would you tell them? Patience?
Well, I think they need to be patient. And I think you need to probably pick out one side of the plate or the other.
That one's off the hands, out to short. Mercer throws out Revere. Been a tough series for Ben. And there's one out now for Maikel Franco. So Ben now 0 for 13 in the series. Franco hitting .211 here in the big leagues. No homers and 3 runs batted in. Played a big part in the one win the Phillies have in this series so far, defensively and offensively. First pitch is a little low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Liriano took a little peek into the home plate umpire Ed Hickox after that pitch.
I honestly think the way Martin caught that ball, he kind of stabbed at it, is why he didn't get that call.
Russell Martin is doing the catching again tonight. Well, these are important ball games for the Pirates. So I got to miss it, a changeup. The veteran Ed Hickox is behind the plate. Todd Tishner's at first, Clint Fagan is at second, and Tim Welke, the crew chief, is around at third. Back-to-back changeups, and he does have a good one. In fact, when he was with the Twins, there were so many comparisons to Johan Santana.
When he was with the Twins, he had a phenomenal changeup. He actually, to me, from the bench, it looked like he could throw it to move either way, away from the lefty and away from the righty.
Well, he backs up the 2 changeups with a slider, and Franco is struck out, 2 away. And that'll bring Marlon Byrd to the plate.
There he throws after 2 changeups running away from Franco. Now throws a slider that runs down and in. And as a pitcher, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to move them back and forth and change eye levels, and that's exactly what he changed speed and eye level there.
Well, Marlon Byrd is now the batter. Byrd 2 for 7 in the series. They have the overshift on for Marlon. 3 men on the left side of the diamond. And he throws a change up, and it's 0-1. There you see the 3-man overshift. Don't get used to it. You won't see it that often. So what has he thrown? 1 fastball so far out of the 10 pitches that he's thrown? Maybe 2?
No, he threw 3 fastballs to Ben. And,
okay.
The 2 first pitches that were balls to Maikel were fastballs. And then he stopped.
Well, there's a slider in the dirt. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. I guess it's all dependent on who the batter is. We always see pitchers throw Ben fastballs.
And Marlon hits the fastball quite well.
Change up, pulled to the left side. Harrison charges, has to hurry, and throws out Byrd. So a 12-pitch inning for Francisco Liriano. So each pitcher works a 1-2-3 first. We'll head to the second here in Philadelphia. College Knit Hat Night here at the ballpark. It's free to all fans 15 and older. Saturday is German Heritage Night, and then Sunday is the New Jersey Education Association Fanatic Oyo minifigure and buildable dugout set, free to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Well, you see Miami, they're 4.5 out of the wild card. Milwaukee and Atlanta, both a game and a half out. Now the Pirates, they're excited about that lead right now in the standings, but you know what they're even more excited about? The fact that the Cardinals have already lost today. They lost 1-0 to the Reds. Swing and a miss by Neil Walker. It's 0-1. So if the Pirates can win tonight, and they don't have any games left against the Cardinals, but if they can win tonight, they're within 2.5 of first place.
You never know, Tom.
You never know. And if you ever forget that, the whole you never know thing, all you got to do is think back to 2007 with the Phillies. You never know. 1 ball, 1 strike to Neil Walker. You also have to remember back to 2007 at the Colorado Rockies. What they did was equally as impressive, if not a little bit more, because they got to the World Series.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Kept on winning.
Yep.
2 balls, 1 strike to Walker. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Pretty good location on that fastball from A.J. Burnett. Walker is 1 for 13 in the series so far. That was a very nice catch down the left field line. And a called strike 3. Well, the curveball was very good in the first inning. There, the 2-seam fastball was very good. And there's 1 out here in the second.
AJ is really sharp tonight early in the game. We've seen many starts this year where it's taken him an inning, 2, 3 innings to kind of get into the flow of the game. Tonight, from the first pitch of the game, he's been very sharp, especially with his curveball. But right there, you saw a great off the hip sinker for a called 3rd strike to Neil Walker.
Well, now Russell Martin is the hitter, and he waves at a breaking ball. Martin and Burnett basically arrived at the same time to Pittsburgh, both coming over from the Yankees. And when they arrived, the Pirates, well, they became somewhat of a force. Outside. AJ arrived before the start of the 2012 season and sort of laid the groundwork, and then before the start of last year is when Martin joined him. Pretty good veteran presence, both of them. But Martin's really, well, let's just say the pitchers, as we mentioned last night, do not want to lose him.
Yeah, he's been a big part of their success. They have stats for earned run average for catchers. This is pretty good. It's his earned run average is 3.49 when he's in the game.
And that's counting relievers, starters,
that's
everything.
All the pitchers, yes.
2 balls and 2 strikes. You figure there's going to be some blow-ups. And the pitch to Martin. Breaking ball hit right back through the middle of base hit. Well, he's been tough to get out in this series. That's 6 hits and 15 at-bats for Martin. And he's aboard for Starling Marte. Tomorrow, Michael Barkan will be talking to former Eagle Ike Reese and CSNPhilly.com Eagles insider Jeff Mosher about the Eagles' upcoming game against the Colts and the Phillies series with the Pirates, and also the upcoming series against the Marlins. Watch Philly Sports Talk presented by Comcast Business tomorrow at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Well, if you go back and look at that swing right there, that Russell Martin hit that curveball back through the middle, and compare it to the first swing of the at bat, two completely different swings, but two completely different situations. 0-0, he swung out of his shoes with 2 strikes. He got another curveball looking to use the big part of the field, hit a line drive right back at AJ. And we talked a little bit about it last night, about how that effect that he's brought, or how he approaches the game with 2 strikes, has had a big effect on his younger teammates and how they approach their at bats as well.
Well, Jeff Branson is the hitting coach, and I'm sure he appreciates just the lead by example style that Martin has offensively. But it is true, you're right. I mean, he was swinging from his shoes on that first pitch. Martin's got a pretty good sized lead. 0-1 is up high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oh, we also talked last night. He took a swing and kind of fell over home plate. Remember having that conversation?
Yeah.
You know, that was, an all or nothing swing. That previous at bat there, when he hit the ball back through the middle, that was, hey, I'm going to put the ball in play and I'm going to try to use the big part of the diamond. And it worked for him.
Draws a throw over from Burnett. Starling Marte has hit in 10 consecutive games for the Pirates. What a boost he's been since he came back from the disabled list. Ooh. That's something that Matt talked about the other day, where Howard is lined up receiving that throw. Now today he is a little closer to the bag, and Martin was just able to get ahead, but he's up about a foot, would you say, Jamie? A little bit more than a foot.
Yep.
And Marte is hit by a curveball. Second time he's been hit in this series, and that'll put runners on first and second. That is the 14th batter that Burnett has hit this year. All right, let's go back to Russell Martin's at bat. Here's the first pitch of the at bat.
Right, he's looking for a fastball right here, and he's looking to hit it hard. He's got that little hitch in his swing, and look at that swing right there. Really long swing, and he gets a curveball. Now here's the last pitch of the at bat. It's again a curveball. He didn't have it. His leg kick wasn't as high. He picked his foot up, set it down, shortened his swing, and tried to hit the ball back through the middle.
Boy, that's some talent, though, when you're able to change your approach mid at bat.
Well, these guys do this every day. They practice. They take batting practice. They hit off the tee. They hit in the cage. That's you talk about a professional hitter. That's exactly what you're referring to in a professional hitter. Because people say, how do you explain it? That's a great example right there.
It is tough to explain, though, if you're just sitting there watching. But it is true. I mean, they were 2 different swings.
You make adjustments on the fly.
Here's Ike Davis. Davis 0 for 7 in the series, batting with runners on first and second. AJ retired the first 4 batters that he faced here tonight.
And you realize now all of a sudden the pace of the game has slowed down too from the first inning.
Good start against Davis. A back foot breaking ball, and it's 0-1.
I like AJ's approach tonight. It looks like he's paying attention to detail. He's very meticulous about what he's trying to do. Two very well located curveballs.
See if Carlos asks for a rising fastball, something up a little bit.
I think he's going to, maybe a high sinker or a high elevated fastball, or run something down and away.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. That one's hit sharply back toward the middle. It'll be a base hit. Rounding third, heading for home is Martin. He's going to score, and Marte will go to second. It's an RBI single by Ike Davis. Now, that was a breaking ball that was left up a little bit too much, and the Pirates jump out to the early lead.
Yeah, here's a curveball, 3 in a row. He left it really pretty much in the middle of the plate. And that's probably the only ball that Davis can handle, the only type of curveball that Davis can handle. You saw the result after the first 2 that were down and in below the zone. And he hits the ball back through the middle. And Martin scores, but Marte goes from first to third. Impressive. You know, that plays in front of him. He gets a good jump with that ball off the bat and goes from first to third. That's very good base running right there.
Well, you know, Ben thought about throwing a third, but he made the right decision not throwing a third, because Davis would have gotten a second. There was no way they were going to get him.
Well, you keep the double play in order that way.
Back toward the middle, and there we go.
Speaking of,
these guys have worked together a lot during the course of their young careers, and even before. Cesar Hernandez and Freddie Galvis, they've known each other since their Little League days. So they could do that in their sleep if they wanted to. The Pirates take an early lead. Could mean something for the Braves, obviously, the way they're fighting right now for a wild card spot. It'll be Friday, September 26th through Sunday, September 28th. Fan Appreciation Day is that last day. Some great prizes, giveaways, a whole bunch of things going on here at the ballpark. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Boy, it really has turned out to be a beautiful night. See the beautiful sunset. It's like a painting out there. Phillies hope their offense can turn it into an even better night. They trail at 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. It'll be Ryan Howard, Darren Ruff, and Carlos Ruiz against Francisco Liriano. Ryan Sandberg has tried to limit the number of lefties against Liriano tonight with Howard and Revere being the 2 lefties that are in the lineup. But you know what? Liriano's numbers are even better against right-handed batters. Overall, opposition hitting just .225 against him. And Howard's going to need a new bat. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That would make a lot of sense with the changeup that he has. Yep. When that ball either runs below the zone or runs off the plate when he's right, and it's tough to stay with it. And also, you know, you have to protect with that velocity that he brings, you know, at low to mid 90s.
Well, we mentioned that his record is not an indication at all about how well he's pitched since the 30th of May. It's 14 games. This is game number 15. He has an earned run average of 2.75, but a record of only 4-5 during that time. So 5 no decisions, but only 4 wins in those 14 ball games.
And Tom, I'm to the belief that there's always a pitcher on the staff that's kind of the hard luck pitcher.
2-1 pitch to Howard on the outside corner, 2-2. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Jeffrey Reinhardt of Quakertown. Phillies hit a home run at tonight's ball game, then Jeffrey will win $200.
Getting closer.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron Ruff is on deck. I used to love covering baseball games. What's that baseball stadium in Quakertown?
Ooh, I've been there. Yeah,
somebody will tell us. I used to love covering games. The grass was so well manicured and maintained. Everything was.
I believe it's where the Quakertown Blazers play right now.
I think that's right. Covered many a Legion game and even high school.
I'm sure we'll get a tweet about it.
Well, Ryan Howard with the first walk of the night for the Phillies, and the Phillies are walking, and Independence Blue Cross wants to remind you to get active and get walking too. Independence Blue Cross, live fearless. Darren Ruff takes a strike. It's 0-1. Ruff is 0 for 5 in this series. Or I should say 0 for 6 in this series. Two. All right, now if you're a right-handed batter, this is where you have to get a little leery about that changeup from Liriano.
Well, I think with Liriano, you got to respect his fastball, and you've got to look for his fastball, and you have to protect against the changeup. With him not throwing a lot of strikes, I would bet to say his changeup is very seldom it's a strike, but it's presented as a strike as it's coming to the plate. And that's exactly what you're trying to do as a pitcher.
No balls, 2 strikes to Ruff. Swing and a miss. That was a changeup at 87 miles an hour. He's been at 84, 85, but that one had a little bit more on it. Second strikeout for Liriano.
It was awfully hard, but it had a good tail to it. A good run.
That'll bring Carlos Ruiz to the plate. Carlos is average at .258, 6 home runs, 27 runs batted in. So after Carlos dropped that pop-up the other day, did he see you? Did he say anything to you?
Yeah, we've had a little conversation about it. He wasn't very happy.
I don't mean to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up.
Hey, I didn't drop it. No, he felt very bad. And he said it bothered me for the rest of the game. And I said, I know, Poppy, I could see.
Pulled foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I know as soon as he saw me, he knew that's what I was going to say.
So you have to come up with a different topic, JB.
Well, we did. We went to other things. I didn't just sit there and beat him up. But I want him to. I mean, I probably don't have to remind him of it. All he has to do. He dropped the ball. He knows, that it was something he did not want to do. But that's what you do as teammates. You keep each other accountable.
Yep. Look out. Ball off the front of the dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think that startled the last 4 on the bench there. Franco, Blanco, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Darren Ruff.
You've got some pretty good eyes, Tom. I don't know if I could decipher that.
Back toward the middle. That might be 2. There's 1. And there's 2. Well, now if I can only see my book in front of me, everything would be fine. 4-6-3 double play. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. We'll go to the 3rd with the Pirates on top 1-0. Time now for the Jeep Stuff the Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Jamie, the question is, who was the Pirates' 2013 opening day starting pitcher? Somewhere there's a Canadian fellow who's sitting there thinking, man, those are easy. Answer will be revealed in just a little bit.
Tom, by the way.
Yep.
The name of the stadium in Quakertown?
Yep.
Memorial Stadium.
I thought it was Memorial Stadium.
I almost called it Bicentennial Park.
No, I
That's
thought it was
one in
Memorial.
Allentown.
I thought it was Memorial. Francisco Liriano is the batter. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. It's beautiful, though. I mean, at least it was. I'm sure it still is. Liriano, 3 for 35 on the season. 8 for 99 in his career. 8 for 100. Because Cesar Hernandez could have run that ball over to first base. 1 out. Josh Harrison's coming up. Harrison taking his time getting to the plate. All right, Jamie. So would you trade? Remember John Graybo, the lefty pitcher?
The lefty, yeah.
Would you trade John Graybo for Tom Gorzolani, or John Graybo and Tom Gorzolani for Josh Harrison? Like, would you make that trade? If you're the Cubs, would you make that trade?
Well, I'd have to know something about Josh Harrison.
Well, the Pirates made that deal. They got rid of those 2 pitchers. That's how Josh Harrison came to the Buccos. Now, Gorzolani and Graybo were serviceable at the time, but that's turned out to be a winner of the deal. 2 outs.
I don't believe either one of those guys are still with the Cubs, are they?
They're not.
And they had a little bit of mileage on them. Josh Harrison was a young, rising prospect at the time.
Still trying to find a position, so to speak. But yeah, that's sometimes when you make those trades at deadlines, they'll help you that year, but then you look down 3, 4, 5 years down the road and you're thinking, oh man, I wish I had that guy.
Well, in that situation, it starts with scouting, right? It starts with scouting, and then when you get the player, it starts with it continues with development.
Travis Snyder takes outside. It's 1-0. So much of it is projection, and I'm not sure how many people projected that Harrison would eventually be an all-star and be in the batting race like he is this year. Balls and 1 strike to Snyder, who struck out his first time up.
Well, there are 2 different fastballs. The previous pitch, he threw that off the body sinker that was down. Came over the plate in a 2-0 count for a strike. Right there, he tried to force a 4-seamer in that didn't have movement, which is a little bit quicker than that sinker. And Travis fouled that ball off.
Left side of the infield started running off the field after that pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Did look like it was in tight a little bit.
I want that one.
Do you?
Yeah. I want that. Get that early in the game. Establish that. Helps out a lot.
And there's ball 4. So, first walk issued by Burnett. And McCutcheon's coming up, and he's the subject of our Geico quote of the day. And Andrew talking about his inside the park home run last night. Pretty much knew when it hit the wall I had a good chance. I saw it, got away from him, put the pedal to the metal and got there. I don't know how you couldn't enjoy that. I really did. Clint Hurdle was saying after the game, he said, I've seen him hit some balls that have been triples, and there have been times when he was going to third I was thinking, all right, he may get an inside the park home run there. Said there was only a matter of time for him to get the first one. Clint Hurdle had one of the great quotes about Andrew McCutchen. This was a couple years back. That ball gets away from Ruiz, and Snyder will go up to second base. A wild pitch, 9th wild pitch of the year. Hurdle said of McCutchen, I have never met a more intelligent, mentally tough, balanced player in my life. And right there, he kicked it into another gear. But once he realized that Revere had to run after it because Sizemore was in a different spot and not backing up.
Well, I like that statement because he says mentally tough. You
Mentally
got to be
tough.
mentally tough.
Yeah.
But the key word for me there is balanced. So that tells me he's on an even keel when things are going well and when things aren't going well.
Well, and I think he meant even off the field too.
And that's exactly what
Yeah.
in the clubhouse, in his real life, away from the game of baseball. He looks like a very happy-go-lucky guy. But when he gets between the lines, he competes.
1 ball, 2 strikes to McCutchen. And a foul ball. Snyder's at second. He walked, went to second on a wild pitch. Good sized lead for Snyder off second base. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T.
And you could tell in that swing right there, he was looking for something down. I believe he was looking for that changeup because that ball was elevated, and look, he had to make an adjustment with his body, and he was able to foul it off, and that's what makes him such a good hitter. He can foul off those tough pitches.
Popped it up. Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman, comes over. He'll make the call and makes the catch. No runs, no hits, 1 man left in scoring position. Middle of the third here in Philadelphia. Pirates on top of the Phillies, 1-0. coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Bottom of the third, Phillies and the Pirates. Final game of this 4-game series. Gregory Polanco is now in right field for the Pirates. And Travis Snyder moves from right field to left field. So something must be up with Starling Marte. Go to the bottom of the third. Cesar Hernandez will be the batter. And Cesar lays down a beauty of a bunt. No chance for Josh Harrison. First hit of the night for the Phils. A bunt single. I mean, that ball just died in the grass.
He was really able to deaden that ball. And you're right, Tom. Once it hit the grass just ate it up, and it just had nowhere to go. Great bunt by Cesar Hernandez to start this inning off.
And now Freddie Galvis, the batter, with Burnett on deck. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Galvis hitting .125 here in the big leagues, 8 hits and 64 ABs. Back toward the middle, between Liriano's legs and into center field. And that'll put runners on first and second for A.J. Burnett. It's a prime opportunity for A.J. to move 2 runners into scoring position. Well, JB, you talked about Liriano not being around the strike zone as much. It's time to take a look at our Mazda leaders. Liriano and Burnett are both among the top 5. And it's not a surprise, I don't think, that Jorge De La Rosa's there. Jordan Lyles, I'm a little surprised by that. And I'm a little surprised by Trevor Cahill, too. Murph, are you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised that these 2 guys are on that list. We've talked about what A.J. Burnett has done this year, but Francisco Liriano, I mean, he is a guy, as Jamie pointed out, is one of the keys to the game. You've got to make him throw strikes. You've got to swing at those strikes because he is erratic and he is trying to get you to swing at pitches out of the strike zone. Take a look at this graphic that Bloomberg Sports sent us to kind of illustrate that. When he is inside the strike zone, opponents are batting .295 against them, but when out of the strike zone, just .088. And you think back to Maikel Franco's first at bat, he didn't throw a single pitch in that strike zone. He was able to strike Franco out. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to bury you with that changeup or slider late in the count after getting ahead of you. So that's what the Phils have to avoid against in this game.
I think you could also say it with A.J. here trying to bunt, because those 2 pitches, they were zipping right on out of the strike zone. And now it's no balls and 2 strikes. Well, some guys are effectively wild and they get away with it. Others are just flat out wild. And AJ does bunt it. And up the third base line. Ooh, that looked like a fair ball. They're saying it's a foul ball. And AJ is out. Ryan Sandberg is coming out. He wants to talk to Ed Hickox. Now, this is not a reviewable play, but it looked like Russell Martin was in foul territory or fair territory. Let's take a look. Oh, no, he looked like it was in foul territory. That's a good call.
The ball hit in fair territory.
Yeah, I think that, and look where it's spun. Yeah, that's a good call.
Is in foul territory.
And then it went foul.
Once he touches it in foul territory, it's a dead ball.
Yeah, I mean, that angle, I mean, where we are behind home plate, we were like everybody else that was viewing it. We thought there was a chance it was fair, but Martin adjusted his body and grabbed it in foul territory. So a good call by Ed Hickox. And now Ben Revere takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Strikeout number 3 for Liriano. I think Murph's point and what you said about being out of the strike zone, I think that was part of the reason why Burnett didn't get that bunt down. And a liner to left field, but it's right at Snyder. 2 outs. And the runners will go back, and now Franco will be the hitter. Franco struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Well, he's got him off balance right now with that changeup. I mean, he is just ripping. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Adam LaRoche is having himself a pretty good game for the Nationals. They lead the Mets 3-0. That game's in the top of the 3rd. Martin smothers it. Tanner Roark is on the mound for the Nationals. Bartolo Colon is on the mound for the Mets. Ryan Howard is the active leader in home runs with 41 for the Mets. Adam LaRoche is among the leaders. He has 28 home runs against the Mets. Right now, this is not a friendly matchup for Maikel Franco.
I don't know if he's thrown him a strike yet in this at bat. This is some of the growing pains that you're going to go through with a young hitter, with a pitcher that can pitch and make pitches look like strikes.
Well, there you go. Franco is down swinging for the second time. Phillies leave a couple aboard here in the 3rd. We've played our first 3. A lot of shaking of heads so far against Lariano. Out facilities maintenance players specializing in all of your cleaning needs. WB Mason also provides a full selection of 3M safety products that can't be struck out. Who but WB Mason? Phillies trail at 1-0. We'll go to the top of the 4th inning. In between innings, the changing of the bases. That's Major Eric Tirado, a 15-year veteran of the New York City Police Department and a reservist who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He, along with the other 3 out there, including DOG, who got a baseball from Cesar Hernandez, and Officer Paul Bryant Jr. of the Philadelphia Police Department. All three of these gentlemen and the dog were first responders, or are first responders. And that's Michael Foley, who is part of the Philadelphia Fire Department. And they changed the bases here tonight as we get set for the top of the fourth inning. As you know, we remember it's been 13 years since the attacks on the Trade Center, Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon down in Washington, D.C. Nearly 3,000 folks lost their lives that day, and even countless others since then. Neil Walker takes high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Walker struck out his first time up. Burnett with 3 strikeouts so far. Outside, 3-1. Russell Martin, he's been a pain in the neck. He's in the on-deck circle. That's cracked foul, and it's 3-2.
Well, when AJ gets to this situation with 2 strikes, he throws that curveball. Batting averages against him are 162. The MLB average is 178. And he throws it about 49% of the time. And the MLB average is only 13%.
That one just missed inside, ball 4. Well, I guess when you have it, it has been a go-to pitch for him for a long time. Walks the second batter. And there you see the breakdown of balls to strikes for Burnett. 50 pitches so far. And Russell Martin, who singled and then scored his last time up. He now has 6 hits in this series. His average is at 293. Shows bunt, takes a strike, 0-1. Goes, pitches hit toward the left side, and Hernandez, or excuse me, Galvis, better hurry up, and he throws out Martin. 6-3 of the put out, one away. The most popular way to follow the September pennant races is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Get at bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store, or visit MLB.com.
Well, very interesting there. They had Neil Walker moving on that pitch. Russell Martin put that ball in play. You know, that's a smart manager right there, knowing that he has a hitter at the plate that can put the ball in play, and he can put the ball on the ground and stay out of the double play. Now you have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
And Martin has grounded into 15 double plays this year, which leads the Pirates. So you get him away from that. No balls, 1 strike to Polanco. Polanco batting for the first time. He came on to play right field. Starling Marte left with discomfort in his left arm. Up and away, 1-1. Freddie Galvis takes the big hop and throws out Polanco. 2 outs here in the 4th. Over to third goes Neil Walker. Well, this is where Marte got hit by the pitch, Jamie, so we're assuming this is what caused him to leave the game. Breaking ball that hit the left elbow. He got hit in the hand last night, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah. You know, my only thought is maybe he's been hit there before, maybe not have been healed. You don't know what's really going on, but it's unfortunate to lose a player in a game, especially for the Pirates, with a potential injury.
Especially that player. Here's Davis. He has an RBI single. Takes just off the inside corner. 1-0. Davis was 0 for 6 against Burnett before that base hit. His last time up, 1 for 7 with an RBI tonight. That RBI was his 45th of the year. Curved ball, and it's 2-2. Pirates picked him up in a trade with the New York Mets. Mets decided to go with Lucas Duda, which turned out to be the right move for them as their first baseman, which left Davis expendable. Swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking ball. That's a nasty bite on it. No runs, no hits. One man left over at third. Davis tosses the bat aside. No equipment fine here tonight. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Philadelphia. It gives us a chance to, well, find everything we want in the Majestic Clubhouse today. Stores go further. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Bottom of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Pirates on top. Marlon Byrd will lead it off. It'll be Byrd, Howard, and Darren Ruff. Marlon grounded out to third his first time up to Josh Harrison. And that was to wrap up the bottom of the first inning. Phillies have 2 hits. The Pirates have 2 hits. Pittsburgh leads at 1-0. Out toward right center field. That's pretty well hit. Polanco, though, has got a beat on it. And he makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 set aside here in the fourth. That'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate. Let's check in with Greg Murphy.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom. We'll get you updated on a couple of injuries for the Phillies. First and foremost, Don Brown, who left last night's game. You remember, after diving for a baseball in the outfield, he left the game. He knocked the wind out of himself, and he also bruised his shoulder last night. Ryan Sandberg described it today as more of a stinger. He's listed as day-to-day, but Ryan Sandberg said he could be available tonight if they need him late in the game off the bench as a pinch hitter. So look for Don Brown to be back pretty soon. And also Jimmy Rollins, who was legging out that triple earlier in this series, and he pulled that hamstring. Originally, they thought maybe close to 2 weeks he would be out. Ryan Sandberg said today that he's doing very well. In fact, this morning was doing much better than they expected. He's still listed as day-to-day, but they do think Jimmy Rollins is making good progress and could be back sooner rather than later, so that's good news as well.
Yeah, Rhino did say, somebody asked him if this was the regular season and rosters hadn't been expanded, would he have been put on the disabled list? And he said, after thinking about it for a second, he said, no, absolutely not. So that is good. 1 ball, 1 strike to Howard. And a swing and a miss, 1-2. Rhino did also say that Mike Adams has been shut down the last couple of days. That was designed after he made a couple of appearances. And they would see whether Adams would be available as this game moved on. Adams coming back from this shoulder injury. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ryan Howard. And Howard is struck out, so Liriano has 5 strikeouts. Now there are 2 outs here in the fourth. And that'll bring Darren Ruff to the plate.
It'll really be interesting to go back and see how many actual strikes Liriano has thrown tonight so far in this game.
Well, we have access, as Murph mentioned before, and we've mentioned from time to time this year, to Bloomberg Sports. And, after games, we could sit and see which pitches were kind of in the strike zone and which were not. Some guys, we said, can get away with it. Others can't. Why do you think he can get away with it? What is it that?
I really, it's the bite on his slider, like that right there, and the depth on his changeup.
Well, back-to-back strikeouts. He has 6 now through the first 4 innings. Pirates scored a run in their half of the second. That's it for the offense so far as we go to the 5th inning here in Philadelphia. is answered. All right, Jamie. Who was the Pirates' 2013 opening day starting pitcher?
Tom, another layup.
All right,
I'm going to have to go
kiss it off the glass, big boy. Come on.
A.J. Burnett.
A.J. Burnett is correct. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Last night's starter for the Pirates, Van Sworley, was the opening day starter for the Twins in 2013. Jordy Mercer.
That one I would not have got.
Well, see, we should have used that one last night then. Who was the? Well, we would have. That would have given it away. No, you could have chosen. No, that would have given it away. Maybe if we did it tonight, throw you off the path a little bit with Liriano pitching. Maybe you forgot that he wasn't with the Twins last year or something.
Well, it depends on how it was phrased or stated. What Pirate pitcher was the opening day starter for the Twins last year? I think I might have gotten that one.
Well, you just saw Vance. Vance admitted after last night's ball game, he goes, I didn't, and I'm paraphrasing, I didn't have any. You know, my curveball was just sort of slopping up there more than anything else. But his team got him through 5, and he got the victory. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jordy Mercer. He hit into a double play his first time up. And he lines that one out toward Revere in center. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, A's and the White Sox are battling. And the White Sox shut out Oakland 1-0. Chris Sale's on the mound. You got to look out. 9 strikeouts in 8 innings for Sale. So that means that Oakland 9.5 games behind the LA Angels, who are trailing against Texas right now in the West. Oakland, though, is still on top of the wild card in the American League. The A's and the Tigers hold the wild card. And that's because the Tigers have 2 more losses than the Royals. How good is that Chris Sale kid, boy? Oof.
He's funky. Gotta believe he hides the ball real well, and he's, all arms and legs, and all of a sudden the ball's on you with some velocity.
And he's almost like, and he's obviously he's able to extend himself more, so he's probably considered better in this sense. He's almost like a starting version of Jake Diekman, the way he throws.
Good call.
And a called strike 3. A breaking ball drops in against Liriano. 5 strikeouts for Burnett. 2 outs for Josh Harrison. Well, those 8 scoreless innings drops Sale's earned run average closer to 2, which leads the American League. The fact that there are 5 starting pitchers in the American League with earned run averages in the 2s says a lot for their ability. And there are 2 in the low 2s. That's Sale and Felix Hernandez. Fly ball, shallow right field toward the line into foul territory. Hernandez makes the catch, and an easy inning for A.J. Burnett. Nothing across for the Pirates. They go down rather quietly, and we'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Serve up their extensive football knowledge live 5 nights a week on the new Total Football Show Quick Slants. It's weeknights at 6 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. So far, so good. The show's been great for both of those guys, and the information's been outstanding. And as we get closer to Sunday, one more show to go. And full coverage leading up to the Eagles game this weekend. All Comcast Sportsnet. Here's Carlos Ruiz, who hit into a double play his first time up. So he's 0 for 1 and 0 for 8 this series. Out towards center field. McCutcheon will settle under it right at the track. Ooh, he almost, well, maybe he didn't. Maybe it just looked that way. It almost looked like that was going to squirt out of his glove for a second. So 1 out here in the 5th. Now, he looked like he had it the whole way. I think the separation of the fingers in that webbing showed a lot of baseball. But that was it. He had it the whole way, and he had it comfortably. Here's Hernandez, who reached on a bunt single his first time up. He's 1 for 1. No balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Hernandez is struck out. Martin will get himself an angle. 7 strikeouts for Liriano. Well, it's time now for our Coors Timeless Moment, brought to you by Coors Banquet. On this date, 1942, Ed Freed of the Phillies collects 1 single, 2 doubles, and a triple in his major league debut. 5'6". Freed will total 10 hits in his big league career. But what a day he had. Freddie Galvis is the hitter, and Galvis takes a strike. Galvis singled his first time up. Ed Freed wound up playing 8 years in the minor leagues, and was able to get just another quick cup of coffee with the Phils. But for one day, that day, he had a pretty special 24 hours.
It's a pretty impressive day.
Yeah. The 2-1 pitch to Galvis, and he's a little out in front. It's 2-2. The strikeout, as the Phillies have been struck out 8 times in 5 innings, 9 in a row, retired by Francisco Liriano. We'll go to the 6th. Phillies down 1-0. unimpressed during his first test in the major leagues. Ken Giles hit the ground running in mid-June and keeps passing each obstacle along the way. The right-hander allowed a home run in his major league debut. That was the last one, and he only allowed an earned run in 4 of his first 37 appearances. The 23-year-old with an ERA in the low ones has found a comfort zone in the back of the bullpen. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Unfortunately for the Phillies, they haven't been able to get to Kenny Giles in a meaningful moment over the last couple of days. Pirates lead at 1-0 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Wow, those look really good.
Yeah, they do. Tom, you ever wonder how many potatoes it makes to make one of those container of fries?
Not until you just mentioned it. Do you have the answer?
No, I don't.
Oh.
It's a curiosity question. You seem to know a lot about
food.
A lot of things
yes,
here.
I know a lot about food.
No, I didn't mean it that way. Just you've got a plethora of knowledge.
Huh.
I'm sure you'll find that out.
Just one bucket?
Yeah, just one bucket.
All right.
And then we could do the math and figure out, how many they sell a game.
I bet you we can get the answer for one bucket and for the entire game.
Oh, I'm sure. Or how many pounds they use in a year.
Wow, now you're really stretching it. Oh, one pitch. All I know though is that they are and always have been very good.
I've never had any.
Really?
Never. Tom, they don't. The concessions people don't come down in the dugout.
Well, but you can take the drive up the road. There's one right up the road.
I guess I could.
That's your homework.
But at the ballpark.
That's your homework assignment. You need to go to Chickies and Pete's for something for lunch.
Okay.
You can go to the Philadelphia International Airport when you're flying out. They have them there.
Yeah, I'm usually going out at like 6 in the morning.
Have it for breakfast.
I don't think they're quite open yet.
We're going to get you some fries. We get some crab fries up in the booth here for Jamie.
Oh, they're crab fries?
Yeah.
Oh.
The ball's in 2 strikes to Snyder.
See, you learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm. You just got to listen.
Well, they don't have TVs in the dugout either.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Snyder. Inside, 1-2. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. One-two pitch now. And a liner out toward left field. But he was kind of going away with that swing too, and he was able to keep the meat of the bat on the ball.
Keep the barrel in the zone a long time. And he just stayed with it and pushed it out to left field. Chase Utley does that very well. Keeps his hands back. Looks to drive that fastball the other way. Strong kid.
Well, he's on board for the second time tonight. He walked his first time. And now McCutchen, he's 0 for 2. He's grounded to short. And he's also popped out to second. Well, Morneau has taken over the lead in the batting race. 317 to 315. McCutchen there at 310. Posey has jumped over Ben Revere. Giants won today 6-2 over Arizona. 2 balls and no strikes to McCutchen. I think the MVP race is going to be very interesting in the National League because McCutchen, we mentioned this last night, some of his numbers are better than last year when he won the MVP. His on base percentage is .401. His OPS is through the roof. But I think that anybody in the National League is going to be hard pressed to beat Giancarlo Stanton with what he's been able to do. Not necessarily a one-man wrecking crew, but pretty darn close. 105 RBIs, 37 home runs for Stanton. on the outside corner, 2-1.
Well, if he stays healthy, Giancarlo, he could have one monstrous career.
I wanted to look to see where he was. He's at 395 with his on-base percentage. Stanton is.
And if he ever plays on a contending team, or if the Marlins, if he ends up re-signing with the Marlins and has a long career there, if they contend over a long period of time, he'll put up some big numbers. And it's not a hitter's. I wouldn't say it's a hitter's ballpark. It's a very fair ballpark. Now, if they start opening that roof, I think the ball would jump out of there.
Well, he's got Giancarlo, that is, and they're in the second inning. Milwaukee's got a 945 OPS this year. That one's pulled to left field, and that'll be in for a base hit going to the wall. Snyder doesn't run all that well, so they'll stop him at third. And McCutchen pulls into second with his 34th double of the year. And he's now 6 for 14 in this series.
Almost looked like he was sitting on a fastball, and they were looking for Carlos was looking for that ball down and away, and that ball crept back over the middle of the plate and was slightly elevated. So AJ did a lot of the work. McCutchen just got the barrel of the bat through the zone.
Phillies will play the infield in, down 1-0. That's a tip of the hat to Francisco Liriano. Now Hernandez goes back a little bit at second base, and Howard moves back a little bit at first. So not all the way in. They figure they can take a couple extra steps back because Snyder doesn't run all that well. They still have time to come to the plate.
Walker's seen 12 pitches and 2 at-bats, even though he struck out and walked. He's got a pretty good idea what AJ's featuring, velocities tonight. And he's having a really nice year as a hitter. And he actually really kind of blossomed into a nice hitter here in the last couple of years. So I'm sure he's got a plan, like a lot of these Pirates have. And the table's set with men on second and third.
Toward right center field. That's well hit. Revere on the run out toward the wall. It's off the base of the wall. 1 run is in. They're going to hold McCutchen, who had to hold up. An RBI double for Walker. And it's now 2-0. Pirates on top. Well, back-to-back doubles. Surprised McCutchen wasn't off second base a little bit more. I guess at one point he probably thought, no, he's going back. Okay.
He actually went back to tag,
thinking Revere was going to catch it. Yeah. Because at one point I did think, Ben, the way he was going back, because he was kind of zigzagging a little bit, I thought he was going to get under it. So 2-0 Pirates on top. Runners on second and third. Still nobody out, and Russell Martin is the hitter. Breaking ball, it's 0-1. Fights it off. It's 0-2. Well, Jamie, congratulations on having your first few crab fries from Chickies and Pete's.
Got my hand caught in the cookie jar.
Yeah, you did. What do you think?
Very good.
They're very good, aren't they? Should have got you some cheese too, but no. Okay. Everybody has their style.
Want some?
I will.
Help yourself.
I will. I don't want to get caught with my hand in the cookie jar. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Martin.
Not my first time.
You weigh it to see how many potatoes you think were in there?
I'd say 2.5.
I would say
2.5 to 3.
Yeah, I would say 2.5, depending on the size of the potato, depending on the size of the spuds. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Check swing, just staying alive. Bastardo's starting to warm up in the bullpen for the Phillies. Ruiz out to chat with AJ.
Here's where I'd like to see AJ sprinkle in some changeups. I think that would be the equalizer for him.
They're going over the lineup card in the dugout. You have Polanco in the on-deck circle, left-handed batter. There's Sandberg talking to Larry Boa. Boa just walked by. McCutcheon's on third. Walker's on second. Up high, 2-2. One-handed grab in the Hall of Fame club by that guy right there. Great catch. Foul ball. Well, we may have to make an adjustment and slide that guy's grab into the fans' plays of the year. I believe the voting is being tabulated as we speak. I think he's here at the ballpark wearing himself a Lakewood Blue Claws hat, Phillies single-A affiliate. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell Martin with runners on second and third. Out toward left field. Ruff going back toward the track, reaches up, makes the catch as he slams it to the wall. A run will score. An out is recorded. And Darren Ruff catching his breath now. It's a 3-0 Pirates lead. He had no chance at all to brace himself. He was kind of in mid-stride as he went into the wall. Nice play by Darren.
Kept his eye on that ball all the way.
Well, Jamie, 6 RBIs now for Russell Martin in this series. Here we go again. Well, he slammed into that Total sign pretty hard. So Walker's over third. Good base running by him. Tagging and going over to third on that fly ball. Here's Polanco. Takes inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Polanco has been hit by, or excuse me, Polanco is grounded out to shortstop. He's 0 for 1. Marte was hit by the pitch his first time up. High chopper. Oh man, over the head of Hernandez. Infield was in. Try to cut off the run. And Polanco gets the RBI single. That brings home Walker. And it's 4-0 Pittsburgh. There was nothing the Phillies could do about that. And that'll bring Ike Davis up.
That ball hit in front of home plate and topspin. I mean, it's infield's back. That's a routine ground ball, but they're in, man on third base. You're trying to cut down that run at home plate. Allows that fourth run to score, and Phillies trying to make some decisions here what they want to do.
Well, with Davis up, they'll set up to try to turn 2 here. Bastardo is ready if the Phillies wanted to go to him here against the lefty. I don't think Clint Hurdle would have countered with Gabby Sanchez. Well, the Pirates now have outscored the Phillies 33-17. The season series. There goes the runner. Pitch is taken inside and low. Throw to second. No chance. Polanco swipes second base. So no chance for the double play here. Carlos really had no opportunity to throw Polanco out. He had a great jump. One ball, no strikes to Davis. Luis Garcia is now warming up in the bullpen. So they're trying to get him back up on the horse.
Ike's been chasing that pitch 2 previous at bats. Right there, he said, fish ain't biting.
Yeah, now he's got the count 3-0. Jordy Mercer's on deck.
Big difference when a hitter's ahead in the count versus when he's behind in the count.
Absolutely. He didn't even flinch on that one. Fastball, 3-1. Almost looked like Davis was taking that pitch.
2 right down the middle.
Yeah,
I'm sure he wishes he could have both of those back.
Swing and a miss. He got him. Threw him a curveball. Yeah, that's the 6th strikeout for Burnett. He's got 2 outs now in the 6th inning. Sunday, September 28th is Fan Appreciation Day here at Citizens Bank Park, where the Phillies take on the Atlanta Braves. All fans will receive the Citizens Bank Park Fathead with 2015 schedule. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. And they're going to walk Mercer intentionally. Liriano's up next. So this is the right move, set up thankfully by the strikeout of Ike Davis. So it'll put runners on first and second with 2 men down. And Burnett will then face Francisco Liriano. So ball 4, and now Liriano's coming to the plate. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3, which A.J. Burnett has done twice tonight. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Can't imagine A.J. Burnett, when he signed his contract with the Phillies, ever thought that he'd have a chance at this point in his career to lose 15 games, which is what he's at now. Now, he lost 15 back in 2010 with the Yankees. In fact, his earned run average was a run higher than it is this year.
No, and that might be true in the American League as well.
If the Phillies don't come back, he'll lose his 16th game. Liriano takes up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Liriano fouls it down the left field line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. "34 pitches here in the 6th. First 4 batters, we were commenting how sharp he was. Once he got into the stretch, though, kind of lost his release point.
Well, they've made AJ work for everything he's gotten, but when you look in the middle of this lineup, a lot of at bats with a lot of pitches thrown, and that's, you know, what a good team and good hitters do. They work the count and wait for you to make a mistake.
Swing and a miss. Liriano takes a big rip. He struck out. That'll do it for the Pirates here in the 6th inning, but they scored 3 runs. They kind of open it up a little bit. It's a 36 pitch inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th here in Philadelphia. The Phillies have some work to do, down 4-0. ShopHonda.com. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Home after the 6th inning, Cody Ashley's going to pinch hit for the Phillies. So A.J. Burnett is done after 6 innings tonight. He allowed 6 hits and 4 runs. Liriano's thrown 58 pitches through the first 5 innings tonight. Out of those 58 pitches, 16 have been swinging strikes. So here's Ashley to pinch hit. Cody hitting .253. 9 home runs, 43 runs batted in. He has 90 hits so far this season. And he fouls it off. It's 0-1. Kind of a tough inning for A.J. Bernetti. It allowed 1 run through the first 5, and then in the 6th inning, a whole lot of pitches. Finished with 107 pitches on the night. Walked 3, hit 2. Swing and a miss. I should say hit 1.
Liriano's slider's been very lethal to the left-handed hitters tonight. Either whether it's been in the strike zone or out of the strike zone, they've all been swinging at it.
Like right there. He has 9 strikeouts tonight. Phillies have not had a hit since Galvis' single in the 3rd, so 10 in a row retired by Liriano. And that'll bring Ben Revere to the plate. Revere's 0 for 2. He's grounded him short. He's lined out to left. He's 0 for 14 in the series. To the left side, Mercer charges, throws, not in time, and Revere has his first hit of this series, so he's aboard with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Well, he finally found a spot where they were unable to make the play on him.
Tonight he's back to hitting the ball towards the middle of the field and the left side, giving himself a better opportunity to get on base, I think.
Now being held out by Ike Davis. Davis is way off the bag, though. Here's Franco. Franco's had trouble tonight against Liriano. He's 0 for 2 against him. Let's see how he adjusts in this his 3rd at bat. And that ball gets away from Martin and kicks it up the first base line. And Revere will stop at second. A wild pitch. 9 wild pitches this year for Liriano.
That was about a 59-foot fastball.
Outside, and it's 2-0. There's Mike Adams and Luis Garcia both warming up. Oh, it's good to see Adams warming up again. Takes a strike. It's 3-1. And there's ball 4. So Franco is aboard. 2 base runners with 1 out. And here comes Marlon Berg. The Phillies are looking to hire a staff of ball girls for the 2015 season who can represent the organization in the community as well as perform duties on the field. The requirements are as follows: public relations skills. Have you taken communications, broadcasting, or public speaking classes? Well, it might be the right spot for you. Softball experience is a must. Strong interpersonal skills with an outgoing personality. Must be 18 years of age or older. Deadline to apply is October 17th of this year. Go to Phillies.com/ballgirls for more information. Here's Marlon Berg. Marlon is 0 for 2. He's grounded out. He's flied out. pops it up. Jordy Mercer under it. Infield fly rule is called. 2 outs. And here comes Ryan Howard. Well, the Phillies have gotten their first base runners since the 3rd. That's when they got 2 to lead off the 3rd. But that's where they've been stuck on their 2 opportunities tonight. They haven't gotten past 2nd. Inside 2-0 to Howard. Laureano began his major league career with the San Francisco Giants. The Twins at the time made a really nice trade. They traded AJ Pierzynski, who had come up through their organization, to the Giants for Joe Nathan and Francisco Laureano. The ball is shot the opposite way, slicing foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. Takes a slider. It's 2-2.
I'd like to see Ryan stay through a ball here and drive a ball to that W.B. Mason side.
Swing and a miss. 10 strikeouts tonight for Laureano. He's gotten Howard twice. It's the 16th time in Laureano's career that he's reached 10 strikeouts in the game. We'll go to the 7th. Time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. It's 4-0 Pirates on top. They scored 3 in the 6th inning. Neil Walker has an RBI double and a run scored. Ben Revere picked up his first hit of the series. His average at 308. AJ Burnett, 3 walks, 1 hit batter through 6. Meanwhile, Francisco Liriano's reached 10 strikeouts for the 16th time in his major league career. He's been in total control tonight. So now as we start the 7th, Luis Garcia will take over for the Phillies. Josh Harrison will lead it off. Harrison's 0 for 3. Just off the outside corner. Harrison takes at the knees. It's 1-1. Well, last night, Luis Garcia did not have a very good 6th inning. Threw a lot of pitches, wound up being charged with 2 runs. And they're trying to get him back in here. I'm sure he wanted to get back in here, too. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a slider. Did he go? No. 2-1. Phillies will honor Luis Garcia and J.P. Crawford, as Murph told us, the winners of the Paul Owens Award for the best pitcher and hitter in the Phillies farm system here in 2014. Swing and a miss, 2-2. JP and Luis will be honored tomorrow. Over to second base. Cesar Hernandez is up with it. And 1 gone.
Yep.
So 1 away. Travis Snyder will be the batter. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph.
All right, thanks, Tom. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercer University. And Boston Red Sox second baseman Dustin Pedroia had season-ending wrist surgery today. The procedure was meant to give him a little bit more range of motion in that wrist and to repair a partially torn tendon. He said that he'd been dealing with the injury since their home opener way back in April. He is expected to be ready for spring training. And Major League Baseball has announced the dates for postseason play. It all will begin on September 30th. That will be the American League wild card game. The next day, October 1st, will be the National League wild card game. Then immediately following those dates will be the Division Series, then the Championship Series, with the World Series game number 1 beginning in the American League town on October the 21st. So that'll be game 1, and if it has to go to a game 7, it'll all finish up on the 28th of October. So those are the dates for Major League Baseball postseason this year, guys.
Murph, you have any projections on who's going to be in the World Series?
Wow. No.
I stumped him.
I'd been saying the A's all year out of the American League, but I'm not even sure they're going to make the postseason at this point.
It's good. So, it's been a battle for them.
How about we'll go? I'll say Baltimore is going to make it to the World Series.
All right.
And I never count out the Cardinals, so I'll say those 2 teams.
Baltimore and the Cardinals. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chopper off the plate. Galvis comes in. Franco cuts him off. Throws to first in time to get Snyder. Showing off a big league arm right there. 2 outs. Yeah, that'll bring McCutchen to the plate.
Went a long way to get to that ball, even though he was playing in the hole, but threw that ball from an odd place. He normally doesn't throw the ball from there.
Good call, Murph.
Nice call, Murph. I like that.
I had a good vantage point.
Yeah, you did. Guy behind you called him safe, though.
Well, I'll have a talk with him. I was blocking his view, probably.
I'm only kidding. He didn't. That was a good shot, though. Did Young call him out with the camera?
Young wasn't paying attention.
No, he wasn't?
No.
Oh, man. Over the head of McCutchen. Look out. And ball, no strikes. seemed to get away right there. 1 ball, no strikes.
No harm, no foul. Ball 1.
Maybe 6. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, his slider's been excellent in this inning.
The bottom's dropping out of it. It looks like it's going to be over the plate, or it is over the plate, but it's got a lot of depth to it. For the ones that are off the plate, they don't look like a strike, and and the hitters aren't even offering it those.
1 ball, 2 strikes to McCutchen. That ball is ripped foul. Now the Toyota Major League scoreboard. The Rays lead the Yankees 4-0. Alex Cobb has a no-hitter through 7 in that game up at Yankee Stadium. It's the first time since the attacks on September 11th that both the Yankees and the Mets are home on the anniversary. 1 ball, 2 strikes to McCutchen. In the dirt, 2-2. Alex Cobb's a good pitcher. Rays their fans are disappointed that they don't have David Price anymore, but they've liked what Drew Smyly has done for them. And now the 2-2 pitch coming to McCutchen. Low, ball 3. Walker's in the on deck circle. And now the 3-2 pitch. Back toward the middle, knocked down by Garcia. And a 1-2-3 7th inning for Luis Garcia. A nice bounce back from last night's ball game. He retires the Pirates in order. Time to stretch here in Philadelphia. The Phils down 4-0 to the Pirates. is a big dude and a very talented quarterback. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Pirates lead the Phillies 4-0. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. This comes from Andy Bricklin. Baseball Academy and a visit from the Fanatic. Tweet your photo to hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Well, Francisco Liriano has been very good here tonight. The season high in strikeouts, Jamie, is 11. He's reached 10 as we get set to begin the bottom of the 7th inning, and he's had everything pretty much working.
Yeah, he has. He's thrown some very good put-away sliders tonight, and he always seems to have that changeup. His fastball's been around the plate, too. He sure isn't pitching to that 60.4% non-strike thing that he had been featuring this year. He's actually been very effective tonight.
Well, he'll go to work here in the 7th inning with only 75 pitches. And he'll face Darren Ruff, Carlos Ruiz, and Cesar Hernandez. Darren's 0 for 2. He's been the victim of that slider a couple times. There it is again. It's 0-1. I came in expecting the changeup to be the pitch tonight. I think the slider's been probably better than the changeup.
Yeah, he's been throwing a lot of sliders and getting a lot of strikeouts on sliders in his 3 previous games. So, again, it's one of those things that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if they're not forcing you to make an adjustment, you don't have to adjust.
Down and away, 2-1. Liriano's career high in strikeouts is 15. Two balls and 2 strikes. Got him out front. Another slider. Pirates as a team are 27-23 since the All-Star break, which puts them at 76-69 overall. Now they've got home games coming up, but they finished the year as that ball is hit hard out toward left center field. McCutchen on the run, and he makes the catch. They've got home games coming up, as we mentioned. They'll come off this road trip. They'll play 3 series at home where they've been very good this year, and then they'll finish up the season with 7 road games. Now, of those 7, 3 are in Cincinnati at the end, but 4 are in Atlanta. So the Braves are one of those teams that's in the mix right now for the wild card that the Pirates are trying to hold off.
This could get really interesting.
Yeah, with the way the unbalanced schedule is, usually you're facing a team within your division still at this point in the year. I think it's just coincidental that you're able to face a team, and I think the Braves are happy about it, face a team that you're directly ahead of. 1 ball, 1 strike. They also have an interleague series with the Red Sox. That'll be in Pittsburgh.
Well, playing somebody that's ahead of you really allows you to somewhat control your destiny.
Ruiz lines it off the glove of Mercer into shallow left field. And Carlos has his first hit of the series. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizen 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship. Hernandez is 1 for 2. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. And Sandberg's team has 3 more games left on this homestand. Tomorrow it starts a 3-game series with the Marlins. Hoping his team can battle back in this one. Liriano's been really tough to get anything going against.
Well, he really hasn't been under much duress tonight. We see what he would do in that type of situation, but here in the 7th inning, I don't know how long Clint Hurdle would allow him to stay out there. And it's not like he's a guy that's going to throw 110, 115 pitches in a game. And I'm sure Clint is very happy with where he's gotten him this far. And looking at, I'm sure if he gets a clean inning right here, I'm sure they're going to probably be thinking about taking him out of the game.
Yeah, he's a guy that's had Tommy John surgery. He's had other arm problems.
Turn it over to the bullpen.
And they want him to be available for that postseason if they do get there. Outside, 3-2. Although right now they'd be a 1-game, they'd have a 1-game playoff or 1-game wild card. But I guess it would, if you think about where the teams are right now, would be in San Francisco. Over the dugout, out of play. It remains 3-2. Swing and a miss. They throw to first. Oh boy. Carlos Ruiz just barely got back. 11 strikeouts for Liriano. That ties his season high. And now Freddie Galvis, who's 1 for 2. Fortunately, Carlos did go on the back end of that bag, away from that tag from Davis to get his foot back in there. Galvis singled his first time up, struck out his last time up. It's another one of these outings. We talked about it in game 2. 3 earned runs or less for the Pirates starter.
Of his last 10 outings, he's given up 2 or less runs. Liriano has.
Yeah, the one that he didn't, I mean, he got banged around for 7, but we said since the first part of May he's been excellent.
I'll tell you what, if you give me 9 out of 10,
yeah,
I'll give you that 10th one. You got 30 times a year, 9 out of 10. It's a pretty good year.
Yeah, he's closing strong right now for the Pirates. Over to third. That is a fair ball. Harrison throws out Galvis. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left for the Phillies in their half of the 7th inning. We'll go to the 8th here in Philadelphia, with the Pirates and Liriano up 4-0. remembering 9/11. And we have been throughout baseball over the last couple of days. Some of the teams who are not playing tonight did their ceremonies yesterday. The Fanatic on top of the dugout with members of the Willow Grove Fire Company. They're presenting him with a T-shirt in honor of a fallen firefighter. So many of the first responders who were at the World Trade Center, at the Pentagon, all of the work that they did that day and the days that followed 9/11 were just incredible and very difficult to replace. Some who were at the World Trade Center helping to clean up, helping for the search and rescue. Some of those folks eventually lost their lives from some of the materials that they had to clean up. And if you get a chance, and I know a lot of the folks in the Delaware Valley have, if you get a chance to head out to New York City and pay your respects at the memorial that is where the World Trade Center once stood. It is an incredible, very moving place, and the Freedom Tower is just beautiful as it continues to finish up and get built. And some of the different pictures from around the internet and the newspapers in New York City and beyond today were just incredible, showing the lights that were lit last night in Manhattan, lower Manhattan, and even some of the archive photos from the cleanup and the search and rescue the day the towers went down and the days that followed. They just bring back just stunning memories, but incredible photos. As we begin the top of the 8th inning, Antonio Bastardo is the new pitcher. He'll turn Neil Walker around to the right side. Bastardo 5-7, an earned run average of 4.14. Jimmy, one of the lasting memories that I have when baseball started again, and the Phillies played the Braves at Veterans Stadium. The ceremony that night and HK's open of the telecast that day was one to remember, and it was as only he could do. Just incredible. But even the photos and the video from that day, one shot of Larry Boa with a tear coming down his cheek. The Braves are on the field, the Phillies are on the field. It was just an incredible sight. And Bo, talks about that today. He said he sees that photo all the time, and it brings back those memories. When you flash back to that game, the color guard, the United States Marine Corps, that flag, and that gentleman who walked around the vet for the rest of that season. The Braves, Julio Franco and Wes Helms, and this is the shot I'm talking about. And, Bo talks about that all the time, just how he's still moved to this day. Chipper Jones going yard that night, but Scott Rowland took a hanger from Greg Maddux right on out of the ballpark. That was the first of 2 for Scott Rowland that night. And then Joe Table, Jose Mesa, closing that baby out that night. As a reaction from Larry Bowa. Really an emotional day around baseball. That whole month was, and then the World Series with the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. When President Bush came out and threw the strike from the top of the mound. And recounted later on that Derek Jeter said, "You've got to throw it from the mound." And that's why he did. Bulletproof vest and all. Russell Martin, the batter, he takes a strike. It's 1-1.
And it was a great way, I think, for the players to get back to playing and allow people to, show their respect. Fans, players. I think every stadium had their own way of doing something. And I remember in Seattle we did a lap around the field, and we all met at the pitcher's mound with the flag. It was very emotional, and but it was very heartfelt. It was our way on the West Coast of showing our respect.
Well, you were obviously a veteran at that time in the game. Were the players consulted at all about coming back at that point? Do you remember?
Well, I think it was discussed with us, but I think ultimately it was a Major League Baseball decision, and obviously, as you said earlier, in our opener, President Bush decision. Right. And it was the right decision. So, but I don't think anybody really knew what was right or how to respond. So, you know, our leader, you know, made that decision for us.
Yeah. Well, as Bo even said today, he was on the radio with Jim Jackson on the pregame show. And he was saying how he felt how important it was for baseball to help in whatever healing process there was at that time. Just off the outside corner to Martin. It's 3-2. Polanco's on deck here in the top of the 8th inning. Pirates up 4-0. Neil Walker's over at first base. Goes. Pitch is hit sharply. Diving stop by Franco to his feet. Magnificent play. Well, if you ever wondered about his reactions over third base, I believe he's answered it with a couple of plays like that in this series.
Wow, step and a dive. That was a hard smash to his left. Gets up and actually makes the play look pretty darn easy, doesn't he?
He did.
Can't wait to hear Mike Schmidt talk about him on Sunday. You know, I'm sure he's enamored by what Michael has done, or what his abilities are. And there you see Antonio Bastardo appreciating his efforts as well.
It's a good problem to have if you're the Phillies, to have two very talented individuals that are over there at the hot corner. And Franco and Cody Ashe.
Well, and it makes a nice little competition.
Well, here's Polanco. Polanco is 1 for 2. He singled home run his last time up. Takes pitch a little low. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
And to have him homegrown, you know, that's another thing, another prideful thing for the organization.
Yeah, look what homegrown did for the Phils, you know, during the run.
I mean, and you look at any organization that brings players through I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
Outside 2-0. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, an update from Yankee Stadium, where Alex Cobb's no-hitter was broken up by Chris Young. That was with 1 out in the 8th inning. So 11 straight starts now. He's allowed 2 earned runs or less, Alex Cobb. Chris Young's base hit was a double. Chris Young yesterday became one of only a handful of players, actually one of only 2 players, to homer in the same season for the Yankees and the Mets. Any idea who the other one was? I do believe you faced him.
Yankees.
I may not have faced him.
Sheffield?
Nope. In the same season, Yankees and Mets, same season. Check swing. I read a story the other day that he's a tennis instructor now, which will startle you because of his size, not his weight, but just his height. Dave Kingman.
Oh, I would have never guessed that one.
Fly ball left center field. Ben Revere says he has it. Walker about 5 or 6 steps off the bag. He'll go back. 2 outs. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Get to your local Nissan store for the ride of your life and save big today. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Padres.com.
Buzzer guy fell asleep. I didn't get the buzzer on that one.
Buzzer guy.
There we go.
Yeah, now it's not going to stop.
I knew I'd wake him up.
Gabby Sanchez is going to pinch hit for Ike Davis with the lefty on the mound. Did you face Dave Kingman?
Oh. Don't recall. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't think you did either.
That was a long time ago if I did.
Sanchez hitting .233 with 6 homers and 30 runs batted in. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Walker's on second base. Pirates now with 7 hits in tonight's game.
13 in last night.
Antonio did not like that baseball.
See if we get some sort of a breaking ball right here.
I believe Gabby Sanchez. I don't know if he thought that the startup balked or not.
Antonio stepped off.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that breaking ball. It's 2-0. Inside, 3-0. Or 3-1, I should say. Jordy Mercer waits on deck. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Over to third. Franco knocks it down, has time. Strong arm. He whips it over. Well, he made an unbelievable play with a runner at second base earlier in the inning. Makes another play here. That one got him on the arm. plays tonight, Jamie, and they're part of our Hyundai defensive plays of the game.
Yeah, here's a fly ball to left field. Darren Ruff goes back, stays and keeps his eyes on the ball, stays with it, and bangs into the wall. And then here's a great play by Maikel Franco. One hop to his left, step and a dive, lays out for it, stands up, makes a strong throw. Both of those were hit by Russell Martin, and those are our defensive Hyundai defensive plays of the game.
Second time in this series that Franco's made a play like that. As Gwynn chops one to first. One pitch, one set aside. Tony Gwynn Jr. pinch hitting for Antonio Bastardo. Gabby Sanchez, who pinch hit, stays in the ball game to play first, so he makes that play on the first shot. And now Ben Revere is coming up. Revere 1 for 3 tonight, and 1 for 15 in the series. Phillies will say goodbye to the Pirates, hello to the Marlins beginning tomorrow night. Miami is playing in Milwaukee, so they're going to get in pretty late. Henderson Alvarez will face Cole Hamels tomorrow. Liriano has struck out 11 tonight. He's allowed 2 hits since the third, and only 3 base runners since the third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitches by inning. A 9-pitch 4th inning. The 7th was his heftiest load, so I thought maybe he'd be done after 7, but he was shy of 100 pitches at the start of this inning. Revere, did he go? Yes, he did. Ed Hickox didn't ask for any help. That's 12 strikeouts, a dozen for Liriano. 2 away here in the 8th.
Here's a slider in the dirt that Ben can't hold up on for his 12th strikeout. And Tom, Liriano really hasn't labored tonight.
Well, now you wonder if they're going to let him finish this ball game the way he's going. I mean, they do have 2 guys warming up in the pen.
He's had 4 or 5 starts over 100 pitches this year, so I don't know that they're going to push him that far.
Well, here's Franco, 0 for 2 with a walk. He takes low. Hughes is warming up. Melanson still has a sweatshirt on, but I guess he's warming up too. Nope.
Well, that's shadow boxing.
He's just doing a little shadow boxing. One ball, 1 strike to Franco.
I believe this is what's going to keep Maikel potentially in AAA for a little bit next year, unless he goes to winter ball and really has a good winter ball. It's learning how to hit the off-speed pitch, and really he's very anxious. I think looking back at his at-bats tonight, if he would have taken the majority of the changeups that he's seen tonight, he wouldn't have 2 strikeouts.
That ball's hit sharply to short, but Mercer's up with it. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Francisco Liriano. 12 strikeouts through 8 for Liriano. We'll go to the 9th, where the Pirates shutting out the Phillies 4-0. Come to town, all fans 15 and older will get the Phillies knit hat, compliments of Cabrini College. Tickets can be purchased for all 3 games, beginning with tomorrow's ball game by going to Phillies.com. Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez is the new pitcher for the Phillies as we go to the top of the 9th. Two games for Miguel, and he'll face Jordy Mercer and then looks like Andrew Lambeau. Pitch hitter for Francisco Liriano. Third time this year, third time since he's gotten brought up, that Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez gets a chance to pitch. Jordy Mercer is 0 for 2. He's grounded into a double play. He's lined out to center. And he was intentionally walked in the 6th inning. A.J. Burnett started the ball game, went 6, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. The outfield is straight away. First pitch is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Jordy Mercer 5 for 13 in this series. Now the Pirates won 3 games out in Pittsburgh. They've taken 2 of 3 in this series. So they've won the season series, and they're trying to put an exclamation point on it here tonight. Good breaking ball. It's 1-2. Mercer stays alive. Well, you figure Jared Hughes is going to be the guy coming in, and he may not start throwing again until there's 2 outs because he's warmed up a couple times. The Pirates have every indication that Liriano's done because Lambeau is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. It's 2-2 to Jordy Mercer. Here's Lambeau. Outside, 97 on that fastball from Gonzalez. I guess fine-tuning his command, even though he's going to be 27 years old. That's the next step, really, for Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez on this level, on any level. Certainly looks like he has the stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's shown he has the stuff. Now it's a matter of, like you said, honing that in to become that reliable reliever that Ryan Sandberg's looking for.
Or starter, depending on how they're.
Yeah, you're right.
Depending on how they're going to look at it.
But even more so as a starter, you got to be around the plate,
or you're not going to be around that long. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat to Mercer, the number 8 batter. Pirates have really fouled off a bunch of pitches against them in these 2 outings. I mean, it's just Mercer tonight, but last night they fouled off a few to keep alive.
Yeah, you see different swings off of him than you do off of Kenny Giles, with pretty similar stuff. A mile or two difference in a fastball, but
broke his bat out towards shallow left, and Galvis will track it down. Coming up after the ballgame, Ricky Metallico will break down this matchup between the Pirates and the Phils, only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies post-game live. Again, it's coming up after the game comes to a close. Well, that means Liriano's night is done. 8 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts. And Andrew Lambeau will be the pinch hitter. 2 for 5 so far since being brought up from the minor leagues. There is Jared Hughes. That one's ripped fair down the right field line into the corner. Pinball's out for Marlon Byrd. Lambeau stops at second, so he's there with a pinch hit double. Well, he was all over that one. And a pinch runner. And Chase Darno will be the pinch runner for the Pirates. Chase's brother Travis is the catcher for the New York Mets. Josh Harrison will be the batter. Harrison takes on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Sean O'Sullivan starting to throw in the bullpen. We've just gotten word that out in Milwaukee, in the top of the 5th inning with the bases loaded, Giancarlo Stanton was just hit in the face with a pitch and is now being taken off the field on a stretcher. Well, that's not something anybody wants to see. We're watching it. He's on his side as he's on the gurney being lifted into the ambulance. That ball is drilled deep to right field. Bird on the run makes the catch as he slams it to the Stroman sign. Darno heading to third. The throw by Hernandez not in time. What a play by Marlon Byrd. He's a big dude, and that fence probably took a pretty good beating as he made that catch.
Maybe a Bird imprint.
Really?
On that fence.
A little bit of a little hop by Bird before he made that catch. So 2 outs, and Travis Snider's the batter. Well, we have not seen the hit by pitch, but we're watching some of the faces of the Brewers and the Marlins, and the way they are looking. I mean, there's a lot of concern. It hit him in the cheek just below the eye, and I'm sure it popped it open, which is why he is on his side right now. I mean, look at. I mean, we're looking at it on a secondary television up here, but the faces of both teams. I mean, nobody ever wants to see that. And poor Mike Fires for the Brewers. He's the one who threw it. Swing and a miss. 0-2 to Snider. Well, I'm sure we'll have more on that tomorrow when the Marlins come to town to take on the Phillies. He was conscious when they put him on the gurney. He was moving around in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez is trying to finish this inning off. Give the Phils one last chance offensively. They'll have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Off the end of the bat, out toward left field. Darren Ruff will move over into the alleyway and make the catch. Siding's retired, so no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position for the Pirates. Middle of the 9th inning, one last chance for the Phils when we get back. Of the game. Back in the seconds.
Here, AJ throws a 0-2 curveball, ends up going down the middle, and Ike Davis hits a single back up the middle to drive in a run. And that is the W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Yeah, it turns out that's the only run the Pirates have needed as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies trail at 4-0. Jared Hughes will be the pitcher for the Pirates. Hughes takes over for Francisco Liriano. And he will face Marlon Byrd, Ryan Howard, and Darren Ruff. Marlon 0 for 3. Marlon, of course, finished the last year with the Pittsburgh Pirates after starting the season with the New York Mets. Ground ball foul. Clint Hurdle said of Marlon's time in Pittsburgh, he said everything we hoped for we got from Marlon Byrd. As the Pirates went to the postseason, Turns out the Pirates gave up 2 pretty good players for Marlin. That ball is lined on one hop past Jordy Mercer into left field. They should score that a base hit. So that is the 5th hit of the night for the Phillies. And that'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate. By the way, not for nothing, but things aren't going well in Milwaukee right now. Pierce hit another guy. He hit Reed Johnson.
The first pitch he threw.
First pitch he threw.
I think
his nerves are shaking.
Yeah, exactly.
If I was Ron Renick, I probably would have taken him out of the ball game.
It was up and in.
I don't know if you can say cooler heads have prevailed.
No, both benches have cleared. It's gotten a little ugly. Casey McGee, he went crazy.
No balls and 1 strike to Howard. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hit Reed Johnson right in the hand. Maybe they're saying it was a foul ball because he still has his helmet on. Here the Phillies are down 4-0 with a base runner. Off the glove of Martin Bird will go to second base. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Boy, Martin's taken a beating over the last few days. Now Melanson has started to warm up in the bullpen. This is still not a safe situation. They're almost there though. That ball also got a piece of the home plate umpire. Ed Hickok looked like he got his foot.
Yeah.
There's Melanson, the closer. Outside, 3-1. Hooks it foul. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And ball 4. Darren Ruff will be the batter. Runners on first and second. Clint Hurdle, let's see what he's going to do. It is a save situation since the tying run is in the on-deck circle. Melanson is going to commit to this ball game. Clint Hurdle is going to head out to the mound. So we're going to have a pitching change here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jared Hughes unable to finish it off, so Mark Melanson, the closer for the Pirates, is coming into the ballgame. Is due up, so the Pirates have decided to go to their closer, Mark Melancon, who's going to try to pick up his 29th save of the season. Melancon with a 2.00 ERA. And he'll come on in relief of Jared Hughes. Clint Hurdle limped out to the mound. Clint's battling a bad hip, and that'll be taken care of in the offseason. It looks painful to watch him walk out to the mound each and every time. But he's decided to go to his closer, up by 4 with the tying run in the on-deck circle. Darren's 0 for 3. 0 for 8 this series. His average of 243. Runners lead off first and second. Melancon set. Melancon was originally property of the New York Yankees and then went over to the Houston Astros. Eventually to the Red Sox and then finally the Pirates. Kind of figured some things out when he went to Pittsburgh. Sometimes it takes guys a little extra time. And he's been a good closer for them. Took over for Jason Grilli after being Grilli's setup guy last year. Grilli got hurt, so Melancon slid into that closer's role and really hasn't looked back.
And sometimes a change of scenery is good for players, and also the surroundings that they're in. You know, their teammates, fellow bullpen mates, whatever it may be. Something clicks.
Swing and a miss. So Ruff is struck out for the 3rd time tonight. Just couldn't hold off and going after that breaking ball. So 1 out. Ruiz is coming up. Here's that pitch.
There's a nasty curveball. A lot of top to bottom. Chase that pitch down in the dirt. That's a hard pitch to lay off after seeing 293-mile-an-hour fastball.
Carlos singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Upstairs, 1-0. Lines one to left field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Rounding third. Heading for home is Bird. The throw to the plate is not in time. It's a 4-1 ball game, and the tying run is coming to the plate. It'll be Chase Utley. Still at second base. Snyder made a strong throw. He threw over the head of all of the cutoff men. And now Chase, 20 pinch hits in his career. His average at 274. Ryan Sandberg was asked today about Chase driving the ball and lifting for homers, and why the production has been down recently. He said he's not really sure. He he said he's hit some balls right on the nose, and he certainly has been productive with runners in scoring position, and that's true. He's been the Phillies' best hitter with runners in scoring position, and lately he's been on fire. One ball, no strikes. Cut on the outside part of the plate, but it's 1-1.
Another base hit right here will make things very interesting.
Swing and a miss, and Utley is struck out. Two outs, and now Grady Sizemore will be the pinch hitter.
I think this is a little cut fastball, a little late break. Very well located.
Well, there's a lot of extra players for Ryan Sandberg, and he's kind of emptying his bench here. Now he goes with Sizemore instead of Brown. Brown's on deck. Grady hitting .283 with the Phils, 3 homers, 12 RBIs. And he pops it up. Foul territory. Harrison makes the call, and the ball game is over. The Pirates have taken 3 of 4 from the Phils as Melanson comes on to record the save as the Pirates win it 4-1 here tonight. It's the first season with 1 win or less for the Phillies in their 128-year rivalry with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is an incredible note. Also tells you how good the Pirates have been recently, and tonight they were exceptional, and it was because of their starting pitcher Francisco Liriano.
Yeah, Francisco tonight really dominated this game. He came in, with the MO of not throwing a lot of strikes and making pitches look like strikes, and he was able to do that, but he got ahead in a lot of counts. He buried a lot of sliders down and into the right-handed hitters and was very effective with his changeup, and ended up having a dozen strikeouts in tonight's game, going 8 innings, and really wasn't in any stressful innings tonight.
No, he probably could have finished this ball game because he wasn't in any stressful innings, but they decided to go to the bullpen, and the Pirates were able to close the door. The Pirates win it 4-1. They take 3 of 4 from the Phils. We'll be back to wrap things up from Philadelphia right after this.